How's it going, everybody? Today I got a new video for you, and it's not just me uploading clips of me playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And today's video is Rick and Morty. It came to me, I was watching the new episode where we get a bit too much Beth, in my opinion, but it goes in an interesting direction, and, you know, like a lot of shows, it comes back around to where everything's basically normal again at the end. Something just kept annoying me about Beth and Space Beth and the way they were like arguing over like morality and stuff. Home Beth throws it in Space Beth's face that she's the Beth that chose to stay with the family while Space Beth chose to leave and everything. If you don't remember, this all started with the season 3 episode, The ABCs of Beth, where at the end of the episode, Rick offers to Beth to clone her, and one of her clones could take off into space. He offers to clone her so she can go explore space like Rick did in his 30s, and that way the clone would take care of the family and everything, right? So the way Beth describes it is that she chose to stay, and then the other Beth chose to go to space. Before I get to why that's actually kind of a problem, I want to establish the timeline that we have specifically for the two Beths that the show has established. Up until this point, Rick offers Beth to clone her, that way she could go explore space. And then we don't really see her again until the finale of season 4, where she returns, and Rick has like a tripwire on the Earth to where if Space Beth ever returns, that he will be notified. That way he can detonate a bomb that's planted in her neck, which Space Beth actually finds from a doctor going over, and that's why she actually returned to Earth, to like try to get revenge on Rick, or to find out that she's the clone, and that's why the bomb's in her head. But we never really get much confirmation. Rick just seemed to think it would be easier to keep that version of Beth away. As far as we know, that's the more dangerous version of Beth, in Rick's mind at least. Throughout that episode, Rick's trying to stop Space Beth from getting back to the family, but we never really get confirmation which one is the clone. And then I believe it's after the credits scene where we see Rick, because Rick had like wiped his memory of even doing the cloning with like the Morty mind blower thing, and that he regains his memory and he finds out that he did like a magic hat trick to where he doesn't have any clue which one's the clone and which one's the original Beth, which to Rick, even though he admits that it's really messed up that he did that, he doesn't want to directly kill his own daughter, I think, because of what happened to his real daughter, which we found out this season. I don't want to go into like spoilers on that. So at that point, we've established that Space Beth has been living like a parallel life to Rick's life when he was in his 30s, rebelling against whatever needs rebelling against, and has actually established herself as a bigger threat to the new Galactic Federation than they even perceive Rick to be, which is kind of crazy considering Rick has destroyed them at least once that we know of. Sorry about that weird SpongeBob rock bottom moment where I just like involuntary made the sound from that episode of SpongeBob. I'm gonna leave it in just because I think it's hilarious, but I have no idea what happened there. Alright, back to Rick and Morty. So, Space Beth has been doing all this while the other Beth has been at home just living her life in the background of the show up until this point. But the weird thing is that Home Beth doesn't actually seem to grasp is that Rick offered to make the clone in the event that Beth chose to leave. So regardless of which Beth is the real Beth, at the point that the clone was made, the real Beth chose to leave. The real Beth never wanted to stay with the family. And I think this is really interesting because the show has kind of been ignoring this little plot point. And I think it's kind of important. We have no idea what Rick did after he made the clones. Because the idea was one was going to go to space and one was going to stay. But if he has no idea which one's the real one, and they both have the memories of up until that point, right? Because he cloned the memories perfectly, then he would have had to alter the memories of one of them to go to space and one of them to stay home. So you could have like a Theseus ship debate about which one's the clone, which one's not. Biologically speaking, it's completely irrelevant because Beth, before she was ever cloned, chose to go to space. Otherwise, Rick would have never made the clones. Therefore, Space Beth, regardless of what is actually true, is the real Beth. Because the real Beth made that decision. I made this video because I haven't really focused much on like theories and stuff on the show, but I haven't really heard anybody mention this, and it seems like the show's kind of ignored it, and it just kind of been bugging me in the back of my mind. I guess technically it's just a theory, and the showrunners can completely change it at any point, but tell me what you think. If you like it, my idea, hit like, subscribe. Subscribing's free. Really helps the channel out. Leave a comment. What's your opinion? Which one's the real Beth? Like I said, I think Space Beth is, at least in terms of like the spirit of Beth and what Beth wanted, is the real Beth. But that's up to you, up to the showrunners really when it comes down to it. Thanks for watching. Wubba lubba dub dub.